Hello everyone, and welcome back to this, the final webcast of the 2014 Virtual Fair for International Students. I'm Rhett Miller, here once again as your host for this final webcast. And in this webcast we're going to focus on something that is a real hot topic for international students all over the world, and that is scholarships. And I know everyone wants to know about scholarships. So we have very fortunately been able to arrange a group of very, very talented individuals here at the university who are scholarship award winners. And they are going to talk to you about this very important topic. So I'll start by introducing our panel here. Over on the left of your screen, you have Carla. Carla is currently undertaking a PhD in dental health, and she is a recipient of the Chilean government's Becas scholarship. Yes. So welcome, Carla. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, actually. Thanks.
It's a pleasure. Next we have Stanislav. Stanislav comes to us all the way from Belarus, very close to Russia. Stanislav was the recipient of a full international undergraduate scholarship to the university. So welcome, Stanislav.
Thank you.
Okay. Next to Stanislav, we have Vivian. Vivian was the recipient of one of our residential college scholarships from International House. Thank you for being here, Vivian.
Thank you.
And then we have next to Vivian Lee, who is the recipient of a scholarship from AusAid, from the Australian government in Vietnam.
Yep.
So welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And finally, last but not least, we have Alaya, who is from Indonesia and was the recipient also of a scholarship from the Australian government from AusAid. So folks, thank you all for being here tonight. If I can start with you, Carla. When scholarship students come here, you know, it's a big change from where they've previously originated from. What are some of the challenges you found as a scholarship coming to the University of Melbourne?
Well, first of all, I came with my family. Coming with family is quite different. I started my studies by myself and my husband. My kid was born here, and that was a huge change. After that, I continue my studies. I'm doing PhD now, and the PhD course and the research field has many, many challenges. But actually, I'm quite happy to take those challenges, especially here at Uni Melbourne, where actually you can get a lot of support and very good supervisors to guide you during your academic path. So hopefully I can continue with these research activities back home. And yes, that's mainly my big challenge is my kid.
So tell us more. I mean, I know that there's a few conditions around your student visa,
Yes.
around having a family.
Yes.
So, for example, if you've got a spouse, they can work here
They can
full
work
time.
full time.
Exactly. So that's
Full-time.
something to keep in mind if you do come
Yes.
to study at the University of Melbourne, or indeed another Australian institution, that your spouse can also be working whilst you're here. But also having a child here, obviously you require health cover for that.
Exactly. You
And
can
all
get a
international
family.
students who come to Australia, if they do come here, they are required to have private health cover. Correct?
Private health
Yeah.
cover, in my case, family cover, and you have to pay it to get the visa. You have to
Yep.
pay the full length of your course. So in my case, I had to pay 4 years of health cover.
And how did you
At
find the
once.
healthcare here?
The university actually guide you during that process. You can get email from the admissions office, or you can find other insurance companies' websites and find out which is the best for you.
And so
Yeah.
having your child here, did you find the standard of health care good?
Actually, the system of the general practitioner here, you go to the GP first in case any health problem, is quite good.
Good.
The University of Melbourne has a very good health services. My husband we all use it as family.
So there is a clinic here for those of you watching that
yes,
offers both mental health and indeed general health services.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's good to keep in mind if you're coming with family.
Fantastic. Well, that's very interesting, Carla. So if I can turn to you, Lee. We've heard about some of the challenges I guess people have in adjusting when they come to Australia as a scholarship student. I guess what's some of the benefits? What are some of the highlights you've had in coming here as a scholarship student?
The challenges?
The highlights, benefits, the good things.
The good thing of the university. So like I think the first thing I will overwhelm is the teaching methods in the university. It's totally different back in Vietnam. Like from the way the lecturer give the lecture, tutorial, we don't have that in Vietnam. The assessment is different as well. At first I was overwhelmed and I was scared, but the teacher as well, the tutor, they are really, really helpful. You can imagine like at midnight I send them email like I have that problem, this problem, blah blah, and then in the early morning I got the reply.
Yeah. So you found the academic staff to be quite responsive. That's good.
Yeah. Yep. And another thing is like I'm studying in Australia, so not only get the knowledge of the practical example in Australia, but around the world. It's really practical and interesting. Like have the comprehensive knowledge about something. I really like it.
Yeah, so you found that sort of international perspective that maybe you had less of in Vietnam, and I don't know, less in Chile. Maybe you're getting more of it here.
Multicultural thing here in Melbourne is amazing.
Yeah, and do you find that helps your research as well, like exchanging the perspectives?
In my particular case, I'm doing a project involving oral health studies in Australian and Chilean kids.
Ah, okay.
So you can involve your country and do comparative studies with what's going on in Australia. You can compare health access, healthcare, many things are different. And you can go back and improve that in your country, following a good example.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So if I can turn now to you, Stanislav. You're the recipient, as I mentioned before, of our international undergraduate scholarship. So that's a scholarship that comes from the university. We offer 50 of these scholarships every year. There's 10 which cover all your fees, which you won, 10 which cover half your fees, and then there's 30 which cover one-off payments of $10,000, so roughly a third of 1 year's fees. A lot of the students who are watching, they'll have looked for scholarships from Melbourne and from other universities. So I wonder if you could indicate to us, I guess, what was the search you took in order to find out about scholarships and work out, what was the scholarship that was right for you? You're a high achieving student. What was the search you used to find out about your scholarship?
Yeah, I came from a very poor family, so the scholarship was essential for me to continue my education, and I knew that my grades were relatively good. So I just opened the league table, pretty much, and I just opened every university from the top of the league table.
Wow.
So that is very random search. And in addition, I studied in UK. I did A-levels, and I knew that universities in UK normally don't offer full scholarships, apart from probably Oxford and Cambridge. So I had to look outside the globe. So main countries were America and Australia. But I really like the climate in Australia.
We're not outside the globe. We're still in the globe, I promise. We're still on the globe. I know we're a long way away, but we're still on the globe. But yes, continue, sorry. So you're saying, so you looked at Australia and America?
Yes, Australia and America. And I really like the University of Melbourne because of the generous support that it provides. And I just thought, why don't I give it a try? And hence I'm here. Yeah.
So what was the process you used? You decided on Melbourne. Did you write to anyone? How did you find out about scholarships?
The system in Europe is quite different. We start studying in September. And I had a few offers from universities which I meant to studying in September. But I did not have money to simply go there, so I had to decline them. And at this time, I applied for University of Melbourne, through the online system application.
Yep.
And I read all the conditions about the scholarship all online. I did not even meet a single representative.
Yep.
And I just waited for the response in a prayer. And I was lucky enough.
So that's a very good point. So for those undergraduate scholarships, you don't have to apply separately. You'll automatically be considered. And that is the same with our graduate coursework scholarships as well. You will automatically be considered for those scholarships with your application. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. It was a very good process that I didn't have to fill any other statements or anything. Just straight to the point. Just wait.
Yeah. I guess another thing to keep in mind too is that for most of our admissions here with at undergraduate level at least, it is just about your academic grades. So it's very different to a lot of universities in the US and UK where they're looking at not just your grades, but also looking at any extracurricular activities you've been doing, any, as perhaps some work experience you've had. We are just focused at that undergraduate level on your grades. So that's where it's quite fair with the scholarship. It's very much just focused on how hard you worked and how skilled you were, I guess, academically. And if I might ask, what was the score you required to give people an idea doing A-levels around the world?
Yeah.
What was the score you required to get a scholarship?
I emailed one of the admission officers, and last year it was for A-levels, it was 4-star A.
Yes, and it does vary according to country,
it does vary,
but it's pretty much around that benchmark.
Around this benchmark. Yeah, for IB it was 44, 45.
Excellent.
So,
excellent. Yeah. So that's a good. I think a lot of you watching who are potential undergraduate students might be thinking, with my predicted score, where will I sit? And that gives you a pretty good idea of the sort of level you'd be needing for a scholarship. So they are quite competitive. Yeah. Okay, that's really good, Stanislav. With a lot of scholarships that are on offer, particularly those that are offered at graduate level, be it for research or coursework, there's conditions attached to those scholarships. So Lee, if I can turn to you, you've done an AusAid scholarship, as we mentioned before, so that's funding from the Australian government. Were there any conditions attached to that scholarship, or what are the conditions that are attached to the AusAid scholarship?
After finishing your course in Australia, you have to go back to Vietnam, have to leave Australia.
Yep.
So go back to my home country at least for 2 years, not go back to Australia. And in that time, like, to contribute to your society, like you promised, like you talked in the interview. Yep.
So for AusAid students watching, you're bonded to return to your country because the idea is that you're going to give back to the society that you've come from, and you've gained this extra knowledge.
Yeah, and we signed the commitment, signed the contract with the Commonwealth, and in case like we break that commitment, we have to reimburse all the money. And I think it's impossible for us to don't do that.
You don't want to pay anything. No. It's better to go back. But how wonderful to go back and to give so much back to your society when you go back. If I might ask, Lee, what's your area of focus? What's your area that you're studying?
I used to work in HIV prevention program back in Vietnam.
Yep.
So I think after my course, I still work on health promotion program in Vietnam. So I think about contribution is something really big to me. Just think simply can do my job better.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. So, I mean, that's a little bit about, I guess, how your particular programs enable you to give back. I'll talk now to Alia, who is also an AusAid scholarship recipient. In terms of your particular program, how do you see it giving back to Indonesia, where you're from?
Well, in Indonesia, I'm a GP and also a lecturer at the medical school. So with the knowledge and the skill that I get from here, I hope that I can return it to the students. So I hope that my students can receive all the knowledge that I have in here, and hopefully they can also do research, and definitely that I hope my research can also contribute to all the people, not only in Indonesia but globally.
Globally throughout the world.
Hopefully.
And how have you found your research colleagues here at Melbourne? What have you struck up some good bonds, some good links with your research colleagues here?
Yes. Well, in my department, this is the physiology department at medical school, we have this group lab.
Yep.
Yep. And then there's the other lab with their group members. So we have this seminar and talk about our research and how we can develop it to be better. So yeah, I have a good supervisor. And I think all supervisor in Australia is really good.
Yeah, you found
really
it to be reasonably
yeah.
responsive. Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Well, if they are responding to emails at midnight,
midnight.
it's good to hear. They're earning their money. That's very good. Okay, so I guess that's how the AusAid program enables you to give back to the respective countries that you come from. What about, I guess, other scholarship programs that we have that are on offer from the university? Some of those include housing scholarships. So the university also has a range of residential colleges.
Yep.
And one of those residential colleges where a lot of international students go and study is called International House. Now, these particular residential colleges, such as International House, do offer scholarships, and as I mentioned before, we have a recipient of one of those here in the form of Vivian. So Vivian, can you tell us a little bit about your scholarship and what were the requirements behind it?
So my scholarship is basically based on 3 different areas: financial need, academic excellence, and of course contribution to the cause. So basically scholarship in colleges varies around. So there are scholarship that is based mainly on academics excellence. Some is mainly on financial difficulties, or some is like all-rounding, like for example mine. So with this, because to stay in college is actually not really cheap. Yep. So, but it gives students, like for example myself, a opportunity for me to stay in college for a longer period of time, 1 year, 2 years, or for like me 3 years. So from there I learned a lot. So particularly in International House, so the name itself is pretty self-explanatory. So it's international, so I get to meet people from all around the world. So there are around 40 over countries. So by then I will meet people with different cultural background, different beliefs, and we learn how to live together in harmony together. And of course we have a lot of different activities and student club as well, which is I'm actually a treasurer of International House. So
fantastic.
From there I get to learn how to work with people of different culture and learn how to communicate and of course tolerate with each other.
And more importantly, you learn how to manage the money. You're in charge of the money.
Yeah, and of course,
great.
College is also a really good start, especially for first-year students, with emotional help for being homesick, and of course, like academic help as well, because we have additional tutors from residential or non-residential, whether or not from like Melbourne Uni itself. So I think it's really a good opportunity for a lot of people to experience it once in a lifetime. Yeah.
So we haven't sort of touched with the webcast tonight much on accommodation. And you just mentioned before the tutorial system that is available at the different residential colleges. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
So basically, you will receive tutors in uni as usual, and at nights. For example, for International House, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights, you will have additional tutorials. And for first year, you will have tutors for every single subject, as long as there are more than 3 students doing it. And you will have tutors from uni itself, or they will hire tutors from other uni or maybe some other working people who have expertise in that field. Yeah, so it actually helped a lot.
Yeah. So particularly for international students, it's very good to have that sort of extra level of care and assistance in the evenings. And I mean, as you say, a lot of students are maybe a little bit turned off by residential colleges because they are quite expensive, but there are quite a few scholarships available at a lot of the different colleges, so it is worth considering. And it's not just strictly academic merit. It's also financial need, or indeed a mix. And
contribution to the college.
That's right. That's right. And that's something that's very important to think about if you are looking at applying to a college, because the application isn't just about academic merit. As I mentioned before, with most of our undergraduate programs, admission is just on your academic score, whereas with the colleges, it is much more like the US and the UK, where they're looking at your academic score, what extracurricular activities you've done, and they'll indeed invite you to an interview to determine whether you get into the college, and that interview is done over Skype or
it depends.
another
Some
means.
scholarships do not have interviews, like
Yeah.
mine didn't have one.
Yeah.
But some scholarship, they do.
Yeah. But for the college, did you have an interview
No.
to get into college? Oh no. Okay.
No.
So it does depend on the particular college, but yeah, many of the colleges do have an interview requirement. And I think that that's what makes the colleges such special places, because they've chosen the students on how much they can contribute to the college.
Yeah.
You know, so if it's, I went to a college, I'm very biased, but they are wonderful places, and if you do
I would
either
say
have the
worth-
means or can get a scholarship,
worth the pay.
worth considering.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
It's a very good experience, which I think a student will only get it once in a lifetime.
Yes.
So no regrets.
No regrets,
Yep,
no regrets. And
definitely.
I'm sure there's no regrets at those college parties that you're having all the time. Oh, yes.
Yep.
Very good,
That
very
one as
good.
well, yep.
So you do get to have some fun as well, which is great. Okay, folks. Well, that's about all for the sort of the questions from me. I think it might be time now to turn to our viewers watching around the world to see what questions they have for us. So we'll have a look here. And the first question comes from Josephine Suchi, and the question is, if scholarships are only given to top graders, it's quite unfair because not all top graders need a scholarship. This is a very, very good question, Josephine, and it is indeed the case that we do this on the basis of academic merit. But remember that also with our residential colleges, we have scholarships that are based on financial need as well. And keeping in mind that because our admission criteria, at least at undergraduate level, is purely academic based, it makes sense that the scholarships are also academic based, because everything is academic based. I do understand what you are saying, and it is, you know, in some cases, I guess, at different institutions, there is the possibility for scholarships for admission to the university on financial need. But at Melbourne, because we measure everything by that academic criteria, that's the focus. But also, you know, as I said, and as Vivian knows, with residential colleges, it is quite possible to get a scholarship on the basis of financial need. So thank you, Josephine. That's a very, very good question. Okay. So this is an interesting one from Sylvia Miguel. Sylvia says, how can we get information about scholarships from the private sector in Melbourne? Well, that is something that I would recommend that you possibly have a look at on our scholarships website about. There are a handful of scholarships that fall outside, although it's not really private sector, it's more like NGOs, like there's Asian Development Bank scholarships, and indeed in some countries, like with the Becas Chile, there are government programs. In terms of ones that come from the private sector, I guess you would have to look at what are the big institutions in your country and see whether they do offer any scholarships in particular areas. Does anyone have anything on that front, or know of any private sector organisations in your countries? No.
What does it mean with private sector?
It means so like non-government entities that award scholarships.
Probably can look into banks.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure, I'm not too sure about other fields, but like commerce fields or engineering.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure like banks or some oil company would definitely have a few scholarship,
Yeah.
which not just purely based on merit, like academic excellence.
Yeah, and you're bonded to go back and work
Yeah,
at
which is
that
actually a really good offer.
at that
Yeah.
particular
Yeah.
organisation if you do receive the
In
scholarship.
Chile, we got big miners,
Yep.
big mines like here. So those companies usually provide scholarship for English courses, or maybe there could be something related to engineering.
Yeah. So it's often very field specific,
Yeah.
and I guess motivated by the economics of a particular country.
Yeah.
So maybe think about where your big development areas, what they are in the country that you're from, Sylvia, and look at the large companies in those areas and approach them. So that was a very interesting question. Okay, well this is a very open question, which so this comes from Ahmed Hakil. Ahmed says, do students have the chance to be involved in research activities? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
Maybe.
if he talks about undergraduate level, then there are some student-run programs which I joined in particular, called IGM. So it's in the field of synthetic biology. What we do is we have to make our sort of own project in synthetic biology field. So we modify bacteria to produce some certain proteins. And then we have to fly to Boston and present our project,
Wow.
along with other universities such as MIT and Harvard to compete for the prize. So yes, there is an opportunity in undergraduate level to do some research. So because I
And-
deal with medical field, so this is relating to medicine.
And that's specifically to in your Bachelor of Biomedicine
it's-
program.
yeah.
You've had the opportunity to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, that was-
And I guess there's also the opportunity to work with some like leading researchers in the
from
biomedical field.
Yeah, from the second year you have the opportunity to apply for a sort of workplace in the laboratory as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, this is another opportunity,
Yeah.
which is more broad. You sort of don't focus on what you want to focus, but
Yeah.
it's again a
Yeah.
research opportunity.
And I think a lot of students watching would probably presume that at undergraduate level you wouldn't have those opportunities. And look, it does depend on the faculty whether you will have that sort of opportunity. But certainly with biomedicine, that is an option. Of course, obviously, we've been talking to all of you tonight. Yes, when it comes to Melbourne, we are the largest research university in Australia. And if you're doing a PhD, you're doing research all the time. So thank you, Ahmed. That's a good question. And thank you, Stanislav, for letting us know about what's available at undergrad level. Okay, here we go. Let's have a look at some of these. This is a long question. Okay, this one comes from Yama Medaka.
Yep.
They say, is it possible for an international student to work on campus? That's a
Yes.
very good question.
I am working
Okay,
under
Vivian, take it away. Tell us about the possibilities to work on
You
campus.
can work as a librarian
Mhm.
or as an RA or as a tutor depending on your academic excellence. And of course, as a student coming from college, you have job opportunities in college as well.
Mm.
Like for me, I'm working as a librarian as a residential advisor. So where I advise people about emotional stress mainly.
Mhm.
So yeah, there are actually a lot of opportunity, and the pay is actually really pretty good as well. So
Mm.
yeah, but of course there's a 20 hour maximum, like 20 hour
Per
Yeah,
visa.
so
maximum.
so
for our
40
visa.
hours per fortnight
Yeah.
within
Yeah.
one fortnight.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the visa restricts you to 40 hours of work per fortnight per day.
You can, sorry,
Yes.
you can also check the careers online.
Mm.
There's a
It's in the website.
there's a
It's in
website
Melbourne
that
website.
part of the website. So you'll just log in and you just search
Job in
oppor-
campus.
Yeah.
job
That's right.
opportunities
That's right.
for students,
Yeah.
and
And
they
then
are
you have-
promoted.
And then in terms of your visa as well, unlimited work during the holidays as well, during
Yeah.
the break as well. That's
Exactly.
important for everyone to know too. I think something too that we haven't maybe touched on tonight for those who are watching are the post-study work rights that I know you guys don't necessarily have it because you're scholarship students and you're bonded to return home or whatever.
Yeah.
But for those of you who can potentially stay here because they're not bonded to return home as part of their scholarship, there are really good post-study work rights for all international students. So for example, if you do a 3-year bachelor degree, you can remain, or a 2-year master's degree, you can remain in Australia for 2 years after you graduate. Alternately, if you do a master's by research, it's 3. A PhD, you can stay for 4 years after you graduate, and that's guaranteed. So that's unfortunately not
Not
you
us.
guys here, which is such a shame because we want you here. We want you here. But But that's that's a great opportunity for those students who are all international students who are considering Melbourne or another Australian institution. So that was a very, very excellent question, Iyama. That actually now brings us to the end of the webcast for this year's virtual fair. So I'd like to thank all my guests here on the panel this evening. Thank you for making your time to come in and give us a wonderful explanation about scholarships that are available to international students. And thank you, more importantly, to the viewer, all you international students out there who have been watching over these webcasts over the course of the last few hours. Please stay on now for the remainder of the fair and feel free to chat with any of our friendly staff who are in the 3 booths. They can answer any of your questions at any time. The fair will run right through until 11 a.m. tomorrow morning Australian time. It's currently 11:45 p.m. here, so there's still several hours left to chat. I wouldn't recommend you stay the whole time, but please, if you do have any further questions, get onto those booths. So thank you all once again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again next year. See you then. Thanks.